Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Mill Creek Crossing Connection, brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes. Joining us in studio, we do have Dwight Wheelan. And good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Well, Dwight, I know we were talking a little bit off air about how things are going out at Mill Creek. I know they've been working on a new home out there, but things kind of slow this week, and you think maybe because it's hunting season.
That's my idea, and I think I'd win if there was a betting going on. If when hunting season gets here, the people from New York and from Texas and places like that, they all gather, and I remember last year I texted them in mid-season and I asked what the kill count was, and I never even got an answer. They were so busy.
Oh, wow.
They kill something and they work all night getting it field dressed and hanging. Dan's got a cooler out there. They hang them in and before they process them, and it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, it still, though, is available to view if people want to come out and check it out. I'm sure you'd be happy to take them through it and let them see how the things have fared so far.
You bet. If anyone has an interest in walking through, it really is laid out nice. It's something you'd want to get the women into, because it's really laid out nice for them. The kitchen area and everything. It's just real handy to have everything right at your hands while you're cooking.
And what I know we've said this many times over the years, but you got to remember that maybe a new listener is tuning in for the first time, and we can let them know that you're a resident out there. You're one of the first people to buy a Dan Dolan home, and so if anybody has any questions about living out there, you're the person to talk to, and you're available to help anybody out and answer any questions they might have, aren't you?
Yeah, and there's many people out there that have been there a long time, and you could talk to, and we just don't have a problem out there, really. The president of our association has met with the city officials and finally got them to agree that we'd be not first, but we'd be near the first of the list to clean our streets, where in the past they'd have to prove to me that we weren't near the bottom, but now they get out there and clean our streets. And I know we lost one sale from a doctor that wanted to move out there, but he first wanted to know, is the street's going to be open so he can get to the hospital if need be. And of course we couldn't guarantee that. That was beyond our control, and it still is, but the city has been doing a good job of street cleaning now.
Okay, well, that's definitely good to know going into the winter season, and haven't had any big snows yet, but that's always a possibility.
You bet. We've been very fortunate. Also, we forget to mention, after I get out in the car, I think, well, darn, we didn't say anything about financing.
I was on my list today. I was going to bring up financing, so.
Your local bank's always interested in financing a new home, if the appraisal comes in right. And we're in a time now, after the inflation of building material. Used to be, if somebody had a home to sell, it would cover the requirement for a reverse mortgage. But now with the building costs increasing so much, sometimes that's a hard reach now. But people should not be scared of reverse mortgages. There's a lot of bad information out there, but if people really knew what they were and how they could be used in estate planning, or just putting the money into a home, because that's the one thing that you want to keep until you get the ride to the graveyard. And the fact that I had a great relief when we moved out there, because with a reverse mortgage, you can live there until both of you pass away, both husband and wife. And if something would happen to me, Shirley would never have to move. She could stay right there. And then other people wonder what Dan's going to do with all those homes when both of us pass away in the house. The homes don't go to Dolan. The homes go to the heirs of the estate of the people that live there. And that's where people, I've had people ask what Dolan was going to do with them. I've heard people say, well, what's the government going to do with them? They're going to pass them on. But we haven't had any trouble selling the houses out there when they went on the market. And I had one that was in pretty bad shape when I bought it from HUD and rebuilt it. And as soon as I got it ready, there was 2 or 3 people interested, and I called one day, and it was sold that night. So the houses are selling, and we got 2 or 3 that are coming up that people have passed away or gone to nursing homes and things like that. And there's one out there that's a beautiful finished home, main floor and the basement too. They're all well built and beautiful, but this one we just kept doing things and doing things and doing things, and it turned out it's got a lot of things that a normal home wouldn't have. So people ought to be thinking about the secondary market and making some contacts and find out about buying some of those homes, because it is so reasonable. The fact that they're all built to grow old in, and 36-inch doors. Shirley now uses a walker in the house sometimes, and it's just nice that she's not hitting either side of the door. And the push-button light switches, levers on the doors instead of knobs, and that's getting to be important for me with old hands getting older. So it's just a home that really would suit the needs of anyone. And there's such a difference between what was built when I bought mine and what they're building now. Not in construction or finish or anything like that, but just in design. So if anybody wants to see it, they can get a hold of me, and we'll walk around the corner and go in.
You know, you made a great point about how the misperception is that Dan gets the homes when you pass away or move out, and they go to the heirs. Just out of curiosity, do most of the heirs then put the house up for resale, or does anybody actually move in, like a son or daughter?
No, I don't recall any sons or daughters moving in. I think they've all been sold to another party. And the only reason they go on the market is for when they pass away.
Right.
There's not people selling them to buy something else.
Right.
Because it just fits their needs.
Yeah, once you become older, you're not going to be looking for a different house that's going to have less things that are designed for the older.
Well, I know if I went home and said we were going to move, the funeral would be a couple days from now. And we moved 11 years ago when we were a lot younger. But it wouldn't go over very well to our house.
Certainly. So again, I know you're working with someone that can explain to people how reverse mortgages work, and and of course any kind of financing. They'll do regular mortgages and that sort of thing too. So all the options are available, and there's no high pressure pushing you to have to do one thing or another. It's always totally up to the buyer, right?
No, Dan's a builder.
Yep.
He's not a financer.
Yep.
So we'll make an introduction to what I consider an expert in the industry. And he represents United of Omaha.
Okay.
And then it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
But we'd be happy to make that introduction.
Sure. It's all about just giving information, letting folks make the decisions for themselves, and giving them the space and the time to do that.
I personally used a reverse mortgage.
Right.
And with the money from the sale of my other house and what I had to pay down here, I used the balance of that to help grandkids, to help kids in their home purchases, and I felt good about it. So we can get information to you about that also.
All right. Well, sounds good, Dwight. We have quickly run out of time here, so we wrap things up again. If folks want to look through the new home that's being built out there, they just get a hold of you, and you'd be happy to take them through it.
You bet.
All right. Well, that is today's Mill Creek Crossing Connection. We do thank you for listening and remind you, listen every Wednesday morning at this time here on KROS. Brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes.